today. I'm delighted to be guiding you through today's webinar. My name is Jared Lawal, the content curator with netplus.com, the co-organizer of this event. Alongside Business Day, Nigeria's leading news platform, we have organized this monthly digital transformation series, which is aimed at helping SMEs looking to adopt digital processes to scale their businesses, especially since the disruption of the coronavirus pandemic. Consistently for 4 months now, we have brought on leading professionals in both digital and business fields to discuss topics that shed light on the importance of technology in the new age of doing business. We've discussed how the coronavirus pandemic has given many of us reasons to change our perspectives about many aspects of our lives, especially in business dealings. And we've definitely shared effective technology solutions like our NetPlus mini devices that help speed up the digital transition for every kind of business. However, today, our focus is on helping you choose the right digital strategy for your business. Today's market is moving, and it is moving at an accelerated pace. But we strongly believe that you do not have to be left behind, and you will not be. With the right digital strategy, you can scale in the most effective of ways. So I urge you to please pay close attention as we cover key points that touch on your business goals, redefining that, your customers, and your competition. And of course, aligning your needs and your budgets. So I hope you do learn a thing or two from our team of esteemed panelists, and that with this, you have the confidence to make decisions that can get your business to where you want it to be. Now, our panelists for today. First, we have Mr. Chibuike Good News. He is the CEO of Doche's ADX Limited. He's an expert in AdTech and a software programmer who also has an educational background in business and product development. Thank you so much for being here, so you can say something to the people.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Second, we have Olusegun Adeniyi. He's the Chief Digital Officer of Wema Bank. He's a professional whose career has been focused on providing technical strategies, software and integration solutions delivery, and project and operations management to many brands and businesses. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you, Jared. Good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Good morning. Third is the consulting lead at Jobberman. Many young adults will know what Jobberman is. That doesn't need much introduction. Nike Agbakwesi, I'm sorry if I murdered your name. She's a strategic mind with years of experience working with leading brands like KPMG and now Jobberman on projects that cut across multiple sectors. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. It's Agbakwesi, but it's fine.
I'm so sorry. Finally, Eitayo Ogumola, the founder of Utiva. He has dedicated his entire career to equipping people with the right tech skills to be able to compete on a global scale. His company is also developing a solution that connects companies and tech talents in one place. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
So as you can see, we are fortunate to have such an elite group of professionals here with us. If you have any questions you'd like to ask any of them, please write them down in the chat room below in this format. Name, location, name of business, optional, and then the question, and we'll get to them as soon as the time comes. Please remember to keep your microphones on mute to help avoid any distractions during the conversation. And to our panelists, like I said earlier, please, this is a conversation, so feel free to share your opinion on any of the questions, even if they're not directed at you. So let's get into it. First question is for Mr. Chibuike. Since the pandemic, many businesses have realized the need to redefine their business goals. And I know it's good to have a big vision, and it's good to dream, and it's good to have major plans, but how do you advise that these businesses can redefine their business goals in the most realistic of ways, given the kind of economy that we are in, and many other factors that come to play when developing a business or starting from scratch?
Okay, thank you very much. The pandemic is something none of us had control over, and it's something none of us expected. but there's commonals. And businessmen, as most of us are, one of the key things we need to do is to adapt to the realities of our operating environment, to adapt to the dynamics of the people we are doing business with, to adapt to the behaviors of the customers we are also addressing in our business. And since it has gone this way, the goal of the business should be, first of all, digital. So every business should have a way of having almost as much as possible digital delivery of whatever it is. If it is service, if it is product, you should have a way of doing that digitally. If people have been coming to your shop or have been coming to your place to access your services or your products, you should find a way of now taking it to them. So is it that you're going to be doing deliveries, or you're going to be doing digital delivery of those goods? And another thing is the fact that we also need to understand that these people are not going to come to our shops. So we need to have online presence that will be our first point of call. But it gives us an opportunity also, because just as people have gone digital, it has also taken us further what we would have done in maybe 5 years' time. So it has brought us closer to that. And so we need to have an online presence. We need to optimize that online presence. I'm sure we need to automate some of the things we do. One of the things we did was like we built chatbots, and then we made it as a service. So businesses look at, okay, I have customers, but some of them come to my website, and some small businesses don't have very great websites, and they probably don't have enough resources to have as big website as Jumia. But you can automate your business by taking it to WhatsApp. So go to those places and let people interact with you. Then if you can introduce chatbots, that's great. Bring them in, let's automate the process of buying, the process of ordering, and let your customers then take advantage of that. Now, the good thing about that is that it's also going to make you available 24 hours. So let's say a beauty product seller, so you sell hair or you sell women hair, but right now people are not coming to your shop anymore. But if you can take that, and if you say you're going to build a website and an e-commerce site, it's going to be quite expensive, or you probably don't have enough money to go into all that process. But you can build a WhatsApp bot or a WhatsApp channel, then you have that cluster of people that buy your products. They can easily order your products, and then you integrate it with a delivery system. So you don't even need to go out of your house or out of your store location, but you still be able to deliver your goods to people. And the good thing that comes out of it is also the fact that you surprisingly see the number of people that you are attending to, or the number of people that are buying your goods and services will increase. So if maybe you physically attend to 100 people, by the time you digitize this, you could be attending to 500 people, and you have ability to meet all those things. Then we also need to be quite dynamic in our goals. Now, COVID had made it imperative that we have to rethink everything. So we shouldn't see that this is the way I do my thing, this is the way I've been doing it for many years, this is the way I'm going to continue to do it. No, you go out of business. You don't need to, okay, if this process that we've done it before was necessary when there was no COVID, now that everybody is not coming out, what are we going to do? So it should be quick at adapting. Speed is one of the key things that people need to do in their goals to adapt to this process. So I talked about speed. You need to be quick to make decisions, quick to adapt. You need to be digital first, and then you need to be mobile. So everything you're doing has to be mobile oriented in terms of your services, because about 80% of Nigerians, about 90% of Nigerians use internet from mobile phones. And even the people that use desktop only use it in the office. So the other people are on mobile. So whatever you're doing, make it possible that somebody with a mobile phone will be able to access those products even without having difficulty. That comes to user experience and user interface. put yourself in the shoes of the customers, and then how can they order my services from their phone? How easy is it for them to do that? And then how quickly can they do that without going through hiccups? And with that, you'll be able to still adapt to the new challenges.
Thank you so much for that, sir. But speaking of, restructuring your business goals and all that, I feel like SWOT analysis is a term that has been thrown around quite a bit when developing strategies and developing new marketing programs. So is there a specific stage in business where one can use SWOT analysis? And how can this help businesses looking to identify opportunities in both tapped and untapped markets? Mr. Olusegun.
At every stage in your business, you should always do your SWOT analysis, right?
That question was directed at Mr. Olusegun, actually.
Okay.
Thanks, Chibuke. Yeah, at least you started off well for me. Thank you very much. Good morning once again, everybody. I think before we even kick off, I would probably want to speak very, very, very quickly around what SWOT analysis is, just to be sure that we're all speaking to the same thing. So it's essentially, it's an acronym: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It looks at your internal and external factors that can affect your business, and is a very useful, I have found it is a very useful tool for brainstorming and for strategic planning for businesses and ideas. To your question, Jared, there are no specific stages where one can use not direct specific stages where one can use SWOT analysis. It is useful at any stage of the life cycle of a business. And I'm going to illustrate with two key stages in the typical business lifestyle cycle. I will take one example, a startup, or even for an idea that you are trying to evolve into a business. Using SWOT gives you clear view of your strengths as an idea or a business in its formative stage, and it strengthens you it helps you on how to brace yourself for competition. It gives you that ability to look inwards to say, what am I good at? And what are my internal challenges that I need to deal with? So, for example, maybe you don't have the right resources or you don't have the right tools. Those become imminent to you as a result of this. Then you balance that with the external factors to say, what opportunities in the market are there for me to take based on the strengths and weaknesses I have? What improvements in my strengths and weaknesses do I need to make to be able to capture the opportunities that I see in the market? And then balance that again with the threats that are imminent to you, those that you can see and those that may be in the near or distant future. So an example of threats in that case may be regulations, maybe the political situation of the country, for example. So that's applying SWOT to a business that it's in its formative stage. Now let's take a business that it's in operational or I'll say growth stage. So you've been running for X years, you are making a profit, bring SWOT in the value that I see. I mean, there are some expert reports that also show the benefit of periodic SWOT analysis. So there are two angles to this. There's the first angle of, do I do SWOT frequently? Or do I do SWOT when I need to take important strategic decisions? And there are expert reports that position for both of them. But the point I'm trying to make is, regardless of what you decide as a business, whether you do it every 3, 6, or 12 months, or you do it only when you need to take important decisions, it brings superior value to you. It is safe practice to conduct it as frequently as possible. It helps you to understand the environment in which your business is operating, the changes you need to make to bring strong competitive advantage to yourself, the external factors that are looming, and help you to position against those factors in case they become, issues or blockers for your progress. And of course, help you to understand who is doing what around you. So as part of the SWOT analysis, when you're looking at your threats and opportunities, it forces you to look outside yourself. So you're asking the question, what is my competitor doing? How come they are stronger than me here? What opportunities are they leaving on the table, which may then become core competencies or unique value proposition for me as a business? I'm going to summarize. I think needless to say, I found SWOT analysis very helpful in understanding core competencies for businesses. You get a chance to learn how to respond to changing market conditions. You get a chance to overcome the threats that you are faced with. And then, of course, weakness. You also get a chance to address the internal issues that you have within the organization. I'll stop at that. If anyone has some additional contributions, that would be nice. But I think I've managed to put my position forward. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you. Mr. Shibike, you wanted to add something earlier?
I think he has said most of the things. I was going to say that businesses are going to do SWOT analysis in every stage. At the point of starting, just as he said, even at the point you're going to make major decisions, whether you're going to iterate or whether you're going to introduce new product, whether you're going to go into new market and all these things, you need to do an assessment. Can I actually do this thing and effectively? Do I have enough resources? Resources in terms of human, in terms of materials, in terms of capacity, in terms of people to achieve those things. So these are the assessment every business would always do to themselves when they're making any major decision. And also at the end of every year, or it could be quarterly, it could be 6 months, you always assess yourself that am I in the right position? Am I actually doing, am I optimizing my opportunities? Am I getting the best of my potentials? Or are there other parts of my potentials which I am not optimizing right now? And how can we achieve that?
Okay, thank you so much for that. Ms. Nike, so, in situations where maybe a business, for example, has redefined their goals, has realigned to fit the environment that they're in and all that, and they've done whatever analysis that they need to do to be able to scale their businesses. But shifting away from that for a second, we have to admit that customers have become really, really smart. Not that they weren't before, but they've become almost insensitive to being sold, so almost insensitive to adverts and all that. So how would you say that businesses can amp up their productivity at a time where it seems like many customers don't want to be sold to?
Thank you, Jared. I think customers being smarter is because they want to be very, very careful with their resources that they have. And I think no matter how smart your customer is or how anti-ads or how they can be sold to, if you're giving them value, they would come to you. So I think the key thing for you to amping up productivity is understanding what value am I bringing to my customers, and what do they want to see, what they want to get from me, and how do I position everything internally and externally to speak to that value and deliver that value. I think a key thing, because I'm from Jobberman and I would speak to talent. You have to make sure that you have the right talent for what your customers need. If your talent need to understand what your customers need, understand the value they're bringing, and be able to deliver that value. And you also need to make sure that you have the right tools and resources to do that. When the lockdown was in full swing, a lot of people had to be productive from home, but having the right digital skills actually helped some companies improve productivity and take advantage of where the market was taking them. So make sure you have the right digital tools, make sure you have the right digital strategy, you have the right talent to deliver that, and upskill that talent. So things are changing very rapidly. Things are changing for both your staff, both your customers. You need to upskill your talent to understand how to use digital tools you're giving to them, to understand the market they're in now and be able to sell in that market, and to just have the right soft skills to be more effective, more efficient, in order to deliver value. Because productivity is basically making sure you're effective and efficient as well. You need to in doing all of this, I think data is very, very, very important. Getting data from within your company and outside your company. So within your company, what do your staff need? What do your people need to be able to deliver the quality of work and deliverables that your customers want? Because a lot of times we think data should only be outward. So we want to understand what our customers want. We want to get data from everyone outside the company. But even within your company, you need to also collect data and give your people what they need to be able to deliver value. So I think consumers are smarter, but then you can actually take advantage of how smart consumers are being and give them exactly what they need, and they will keep coming to you.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Itayo, you deal with tech talent on the regular. There's no limit to how much talent there is right now. But the truth is, you might have the tech talent or the talent within your business. You might have the vision, you might have the goals, you might have all that you need, or you might be equipped enough to be able to scale. But sometimes failure is inevitable, right? Sometimes you're not prepared for it. Sometimes things happen, and you lose quite a bit of morale and a bit of even capital. So how do you say, or how can business owners deal with failed business goals?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to talk about this because this is something that I personally, as a startup entrepreneur, I get to deal with every time. You mentioned something that is quite very profound. For entrepreneurs, you need to understand that you signed up for this, right? And failure is inevitable. In fact, I have learned that is one of the key drivers of success. The more you fail, the better you learn what doesn't work and what works. But one of the things that I have done personally is to be mentally ready for whatever happens. Anyhow you want to do that, just make sure that you're really mentally prepared and you build this mental capacity to survive the failing times. Because the better you are prepared for failure, the faster it is for you to get out of that trap, right? I'll give you an example. You're just waking up on a Saturday morning, you're excited, it's a beautiful time. And then you wake up, 15 of your staff members, just buzz you on WhatsApp saying, hey, Itayo, something is going on. And then you just have to be morally, you need to be mentally, you need to be emotionally sound and prepared, because the entire 15 guys there are waiting for you to encourage them, to inspire them. And one of the things I've even found fascinating is that the investors, right, when things go wrong, you would have pretty much just thought that, oh, these guys are investors, they are stronger, they're looking up to you as the entrepreneur, to tell them that, hey guys, we're going to survive this. We've been through worse times. One of the most recent is someone who is very strategic to your organization just resign and joins a competitor. And then you don't even know about it, that the person has joined a competitor, right? But an investor comes to you and says, if what's going on? This guy is the most strategic here, and then he has joined a competitor. You need to be emotionally prepared, to drive others and help others really appreciate the time of failure. But this is one of the things that people don't talk about. Because I hear motivational speakers say, don't have backup plans. Well, for me, I love when you have plan B, C, D, E, F. I am not a do or die entrepreneur, right? For me, if the business fails, the most critical person in the business is you as the entrepreneur. You need to be able to stand up, survive. And the thing I have learned is that you cannot innovate when you are hungry, not even in a country where there are no social securities, right? So you need to make sure that you have a backup plan, right? I can't be an entrepreneur and then I don't want to be hungry, because I know for a certain that when I wake up and there's no food in the morning, I cannot innovate. So I settle some elements of my life to ensure that, I am emotionally ready for the tough time. So you need to have backup plans. You need to have, every time I get into partnership, I am ready from day one if the partner pulls out. So I'm speaking with Jobberman for now about a partnership. I'm ready if Jobberman pulls out. I am mentally ready, right? I know I have an exit plan. I have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. I'll give you an example. I had a very bad media, media effect last month, and it went so viral. People were talking about my company, what's going on in Italy, and investors were reaching out to me, like, what is going on in Italy? Talk to me about what are you guys going through? And then I was supposed to speak at a very big event, and they pulled out. And they said, Itayo, we are sorry, we can't have you on our stage. And I said, I'm ready for tough times. This is what I do for a living and a giving. You need to be mentally prepared, but you need to have a backup plan. If an employee resigns, you need to have a backup plan. If a goal fails, you need to have a backup plan. If a partner pulls out, you need to have a backup plan. If you run out of cash, you need to have a backup plan. The more you have, the better backup plans you have, the more prepared you are, for tough times. Another very strategic thing I think you need to do is you need to rely heavily on your ecosystem. And I'm not talking about the ecosystem. The ecosystem is totally different from your ecosystem, right? There's a technology ecosystem, and I have my own inner circle. I have my own ecosystem. You need to, from day one, you need to start to invest in your ecosystem. You need to start to build your own inner circle, because I have learned from tough times that everyone will pull out from supporting you in a tough time. But the people that you have nurtured, that you have invested into as a part of your ecosystem will be around for a while. So invest in ecosystem, be a part of networks, but build your own network and be very intentional about it. I think one of the last things I'm going to talk about something like connects to the SWOT analysis, that the other speakers talk about. You must every time evaluate your goals. Every time. I do that every Monday and Fridays with my team. We talk about what are the goals, for the month, and then we measure them at the end of the month. And we're not just saying, did we achieve them? Did we not achieve them? We're saying things like, why did we not achieve them? What went wrong? What are the internal capacities that we do not have? Do we have some threats, from competitors? And all these things are the things that you need to continue to do, but not just do them yourself. You need to ensure that everyone on your team, does the same thing. Because if you make it a culture of measurement and evaluation, then it's easy for everyone at the very micro level to measure and evaluate what is going on and what you guys are doing. So those are pretty much things that I have. I'm happy to share more thoughts if the question pivots back, but I will just pause there.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Do we all agree that, as entrepreneurs, you should have 1 to 100 backup plans? Because that's basically what you said, right? Mr. Olusegun.
Sorry, I lost that. Could you take the question again? Hi, Generate.
Can you hear me?
Make out what you're saying now, yes.
Wait. Sorry, hold on. I'm having issues with my audio.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
And
I was saying that, do you guys all agree that you have to have 1 to 100 backup plans as an entrepreneur?
I couldn't agree more, to be honest, Generate. In fact, I would express it to say you must constantly be looking. You must live in a world of paranoia as you run your business. So you are constantly checking behind you, who's around you, what happens if this fails, what do you pivot to? If your strategy, you found out tomorrow that it's the wrong direction to go, if your staff disappoints you, how do you bring their training needs into prioritization and then still deliver on what you have promised your investors or your board? So yes, I agree. And it goes back again, if you recall, the question you asked me earlier about SWOT analysis and where I landed was it must be done periodically. I think it's along the same line that Itayo is leading, having backup plans, constantly checking the validity of the results, staying focused on the results and, basically not building an excuse culture. So yes, I agree. Thank you.
Okay. Anike, how does it make you feel? He said he's ready to jump you in case anything goes wrong.
I think the spirit behind having a plan B or saying don't have a plan B is because people generally believe once you have a plan B, you wouldn't put or your all into your plan A, but that's not necessarily why you have a plan B. You put your all into your plan A, you give it everything you have. So I'm sure he's going to give the partnership everything he has, but having a plan B just means that if you put your all into your plan A and it doesn't work, it's always good to hedge and make sure you have a plan B. So when they say don't have a plan B, they're just saying put your all into your plan A. But I think it makes very good sense to put your all into your plan A, give your business your all, give your partnerships your all, give your customers your all, and make sure that there are plans for if my all is not enough, what do I do next? How do I pivot, like they said? How do I try something differently? So plan Bs are never a bad idea, trust me. Even as a non-entrepreneur, even in business, in project management, you always have to make sure that you've thought 3, 4, 5, 10 steps ahead, and you know what you need to do if what you're doing right now doesn't work out.
Thank you for that. Mr.
So yeah,
Chiwike.
I totally fine with
So
Mr.
on the plan B, so there are some things he said at the beginning of that, and which is very, very critical, that you cannot innovate when you are hungry, especially in a country that doesn't have social security. Now, your plan B becomes more pressing if you know that you are 2 steps or 2 mistakes away from going back to abjection. But when you know that you've solved some things, basic needs, then jumping your plan B becomes not too critical. Now, when you have plan B, don't get distracted by your plan B. Now, give your plan A the attention it deserves, but don't get distracted by trying to get plan B, C, D. These are options, but basically solve. Abraham Maslow's law says you have to solve the basic needs first. Now, you can't go into building a business if you haven't solved the basic needs, even though the business is going to solve your basic needs, but you'll be under too much pressure to have another plan if you haven't solved that. But if you've solved that, then your plan B will be how the business navigates through the troubled waters. Now, that is everything you have to do every day in the business. Now, the business should always have plan B in terms of strategy, in terms of execution, even among team. There's always be a plan B. There's always a plan B in terms of even your product and all that. But your business itself shouldn't be more of this business is plan A and this business is plan B. Sometimes you'll be struggling to give attention to the business that deserves the attention.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So guys, you heard it, put your all in your plan A, but always have a backup plan. But let's move back to the digital side of things for a bit. Mr. Chiwike, in your experience, what are the most important digital metrics that businesses must pay close attention to improve overall business growth?
Yeah, so most businesses are digital right now, but there's a lot of noise around we're digital, we have a website, or we have online presence and that. But one critical thing is how many users do you have there, or how many people are on your business digitally? What % of your present customers can effectively use digital tools to assess your business? What % of your present orders or present buyers can make orders online and then get it delivered? Or if you're a service-oriented business, what % of your customers have migrated with you? So those are key metrics you need to do. Then another metric is how easy are my business and my customers accessing my products in the digital age. Do they have challenges around customer service? Do they have challenges around buying? Do they have challenges around even making basic inquiries? Those are things you also need to consider. Then let's not take social media to be success in business. Most times it doesn't transcend to success. What transcends to success is how many of those customers who are on your social media are actually paying, or how many of your customers who are digital are actually paying. Because it doesn't make sense if you have a lot of activities digitally and then people are not able to pay you. So you have a seamless way to collect your money, because money is the law of the business. If you can't collect money, no matter what, the business will go down. So are you properly integrated with the payment gateways? Are you properly integrated your processes to make it that people have people are able to make orders and then get those orders delivered? Then if you're able to get that, then you measure, then when you deliver digital strategies, what how many users does that get me? How many people see my business on a daily basis? Then how many people get to interact with me? Then how can I make those people to become real people? How can I make them to become real customers? And then lastly is retention. Retention is the problem every business is having right now, because the customers are digital travelers. They move from platform to platform, from one service to the other. So the ease at which they move is something that is alarming. That okay, the customer is on your side and he wants to buy a product and he finds it difficult to buy. He quickly needs to open another window or another tab, and he moves into your competition. So how do you retain them? How do you retain that people that come to your business and have the first interaction, move through the customer journey to the point where they buy goods and services? And if you're able, you need to ensure that at least, there are some of them that are exploring, but there are those that are actually looking for something to buy. But you need to ensure that at least 50 to 60% of the people who have indicated interest in your business eventually spend money to buy. Those are very, very critical metrics. And if they're not buying or if they're not ordering, then why? What can we do to make that change? And you keep iterating to ensure that you reduce those churn rates. And then you reduce your churn rate to as much as possible, that everyone who have interacted with you has ability to stay with you for a long time without having options. Those are the key metrics. Then if you're running advertising, of course, you need to check conversions, you need to check clicks, you need to check visits, but those, I want to call them basic metrics, but the key things are the payment, the churn rates, and how easy it is for people to get your goods and services.
Thank you so much for that. Remember, guys, you can drop your questions for the panelists on the chat box and we'll attend to them soon. Then speaking of digital strategies, we've been throwing around the term all day. Mr. Olusegun, describe digital strategies that any business can use in an effort to scale.
Thank you, Generate. I think, I would pose that question by giving some analogies. I would start off, the whole concept around digital strategies is being able to use technology to create capabilities that your businesses need to reach the right customers, to communicate the right messages. There are some key questions, from my experience, that you must ask before in how you build your digital strategy. I'll give a number of those questions. Does technology change the business that you need to be in? And that's because we're finding that the role of technology today is becoming very pervasive, and it makes it very important that as you think through the future of your business, you're considering the role that technology will play in that. Could technology or digital technology change your target customer? I think that's related to that first customer. And then taking that forward to say, how will that change the way that you offer your product or service to the target customers that you have identified? Now, I would give another analogy. For us as a bank, we offer a suite of products, digital and traditional. The jury is out on how you qualify loans. Lending is one area that, or more correctly, lending and advisory services are two key areas that we have found that SMEs need support for. So in majority of the offerings that we have today, some of the things we consider is mobile first, the fact that our customers must be able to access our services on a mobile device. Again, that's because by learning about the customers that we serve, we realize that everybody thinks from a mobile phone perspective in the first place. Then we take that into consideration and say, beyond lending, how can we offer more services to the customer? That's where the business advisory comes in. And we're doing that in a number of theming areas today. So finance, legal, tax, teaching about how to bootstrap on finance, how to hack your own growth. The next stage that you will see is we're using digital technologies to push some of that knowledge out, which again starts to ride on the strategy in which we are scaling from a business. In our mobile offer, which is a digital product called Alert for Business, some of the things we consider is we've learned that our new customers, I call them new customers, want access to our service 24/7. They don't want to consider whether a branch is open or not. So we've had to make sure that we have that available on the mobile channel. We've also realized SMEs don't want to make individual payments. So we've gone ahead to innovate and create options so that you can automate and you can schedule bulk payments. So when it comes to salary time, you need to make payment to 20 vendors at once. You can do all of that together. There's a plethora of other value propositions in there, but the message I want to pull out of that is the thinking that needs to go on in formulating a digital strategy, but remembering that technology is here to stay and it must influence the growth of your business and the way that you offer your services to customers. There are a number of components that I think are generally relevant. So online presence is one. How and where your community, your audience see your business online, and that speaks to where should I be advertising. Digital marketing is another one, which is how you promote your businesses using online resources and tools. So the question is, what audience, what tools do I need? How do I reach them? What kind of creatives should I be developing to get the level of engagement that I want them to have with me? Then the next question, another component or another tip I would say is, how do I sell online? So for my product and services, so if you take a bank, for example, you want to take a lending product. Yes, we have to do KYC on a customer, which is typically we have to understand the customer a bit more. Historically, that's done when you go into a branch and a customer and somebody in the bank, profiles you. Now, because we realized that the audience is now online, banks like us and other banks are looking for technology that will help to do that profiling online. So when a generate or anybody goes online to apply for a loan, he can get an instant decision at that point. Regardless of what product or service you offer, you need to consider how to deliver it in that online manner. Then the next tip would be around customer interaction. How do customers engage with me? And some of the things that you must consider there is around how you do self-service, how you manage complaints if there are issues. So I bought from you, I do have some concerns about what I bought. How do I give you that feedback as a business? That's another area. Then of course, let's not forget the area of online security. That's also a big thing now. It's an opportunity that opens itself up for abuse. So as you do that, you must think about how you protect your data and the customer information that you capture. I've spoken, I think two more things I can think of around, mobile-based, being mobile-focused. Giving up options for transactions to happen on mobile. So decide whether you want to build an app or you want to have a mobile responsive website. I think that's also important and key. I've spoken to it throughout my conversation. How do I drive efficiencies through technology? That's the real reason why you have this digital strategy approach. Find the right partners that can make you work better. I'll stop on that, but I think that's given full richness to the question. I've given some analogies on how we've used that within some of the offers that we have, but I can take more questions if you have, Jared. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nika, like he said, he's basically covered a chunk of the next question that I have for you. Speaking of the role of technology in business and driving efficiency through technology, There are different stages in every business. But even for something as basic as the recruitment and management of employees or employee talents for your business, how can businesses use digital solutions in those different stages?
Okay, like you rightly said, I think Mr. Olusegun has covered a huge chunk of how you can integrate technology into your business. For recruitment, I think it's very, very important to understand first, what's your recruitment process? What are the key aspects and key different stages of recruitment for your business? And break that down so that you have, outside of technology, a clear and defined strategy and process. I think the first thing is for acquisition, you need to understand that more and more people would be found online. You don't want to be going through your email, sorting through multiple CVs and doing all of that. So using an applicant tracking system is the way to go for recruitment. I think if you go on Jobberman's website, if you use any of our products, you have access to an applicant tracking system. And that way you're easily sorting through CVs, you're understanding what are the different things on the CV, how can I make sure that I'm picking the right candidates for the job. And even onboarding, a lot of people have had to onboard talent during COVID online. So what is my onboarding process? What are the things I want to make sure that this person has? Of course, using basic things like Zoom, how do I make sure that I can communicate to this person the values and culture and everything, which of course I have tested in my recruitment process, because the fact that you're using, like I said, your process is important. Tools just help you take them online. But if you don't have your culture all set, if you don't have the things you're testing for, even if you go online, you will still not be able to find the talent that suits your company. So you've done all of that during the recruitment stage, you've done your onboarding, you've used technology, and now people are within your company and they're working for you. Performance management is very, very important. You want to be using tools that would help you be better at performance management. You want to make sure that you're not every time using pen and paper, using Excel sheets. You want to use a tool that makes sure that you can capture performance across board, quarter on quarter, if you do that quarterly, every 6 months or and then at the end of the year, be able to collate performance and make sure that you're compensating people and rewarding people accordingly. So I think first of all, to understand that process, what is the technology I need to know to put into every bit of this process to make sure that it works online and is more efficient? Because you're not just trying to go online for going online sake, you're trying to become more efficient and more effective. You want to go on the right platforms to find the right talent. You want to manage your talent effectively. You want to make sure that you're managing their performance. You want to make sure that they're learning. So your learning management system as well, making sure that they're learning and they're growing within your company. And then I think there's space for continuous improvements. Mr. Shegu spoke a lot about technology, and I think he's touched on all the key points, but you don't stop when you've gone online. I think I'm very sure that even within the bank, okay, so how do we improve this technology? You see all those upgrades coming up. Okay, how do I get 2.0 version 3.0, continuous improvement? Because as you're executing, you need to monitor and see what results you're getting. Are you becoming more efficient with recruitment? You have to check. Are you getting the better talent? Is the feedback from people who are coming into your company better? Are you able to retain talent for longer? So those are some of the things you should be checking, because if you don't check that, you're not able to know if technology is actually working for you and able to improve upon it to get to where you need to be. So you can use technology with your people management. You can use technology with recruitment. And I mean, platforms like Jobberman are here to help you effectively use technology to get the right people.
Thank you for that. So Mr. Itayo, Mr. Olusegun also mentioned earlier, pay close attention to what your competition does. And at the same time, Tim Berkeley talked about, also being available to your customers and aligning with their needs and all that. Mm-hmm. So should the focus be on customers or should they be on competition, and why? And every other person can, give their 2 cents if they want to.
Yeah, so I will certainly talk about, things from my perspective. One of the most successful entrepreneurs, Jeff, says that if you focus so much on your competitors, you're pretty much just wasting your time, especially when you are in an innovative environment and you're trying to also innovate as a competitive advantage. Being customer focused helps you to be the pioneer. But I'm quite very obsessed with, always just flipping through web pages, looking at other people's platforms, just trying to learn, from competitors. But that is not the competitive advantage, right? Because that is you trying to catch up. If you look at what a competitor has built, and then you take time to study that, you pretty much would learn, especially if your major competitor, for instance, is a bigger brand. So for example, the kind of business that I lead, we have competitors that are multi-billion-dollar, company like Coursera, like Udacity, like Udemy, right? I need to learn from them. As an entrepreneur, you need to be pretty much open to learning, but that is not your competitive advantage, right? That is you just trying to learn. When I was doing my master's in business strategy, one of the things that my professor would say every time is that you need 3 major dynamic capabilities to become a successful, business leader. You need to learn to sense. And as part of sensing is understanding what your competitors are doing. You need to learn to seize, but you cannot seize effectively until you're obsessed with the customers, right? Because you're not seizing, in isolation. You are developing strategy that would convert to business activities, and these activities will translate into customers' value. So if you're to choose where you spend your time, you need to be obsessed with what customers really want, because not everything that is deployed by competitors would make sense to your business. I'll give you a typical example, right? There was a time we were pretty much doing physical training in Nigeria. And many people told me, hey, you need to do online training. But because I know these markets, I was quite very certain that Africans, are not trained to learn online. People want to connect with you. People want to see you. So I kept convincing my investors that, see, I want to adopt the Coursera and the Udacity model, but you need to be a company that builds credibility if you're going to scale digital learning in Nigeria. So what we did was to do lots of training, physically, to get customers, attention and also win their confidence. And when COVID happened, it was easy to pivot. But pivoting also, it's not just the video-based learning, because I know that for Coursera and Udacity and Udemy, it might work for them. But in a country where internet is still a major crisis, it's a major, you need to think about your customers. So as you learn from competitors, you need to adapt to your reality. And the only way you can adapt better to your reality is your understanding of the customers. So what I spend time doing is talking every time to customers, understanding what customers want. But the most exciting part is that customers can also be misleading if you don't build an ability to sieve, and that's where you also need to be very strategic, because every information you get from customers can be misleading sometimes if you don't know how to take that piece of information and convert it into, a strategic direction for your business, right? Sometimes customers will tell me in COVID, I think when COVID started, when there was a lockdown in March, the best advice I got from my customers, then was, hey, let us organize small training pockets in physical location. Let us build partnership with co-working spaces, because co-working spaces were shutting down at that time. They would lower, their costs. That was a customer informed. In fact, we had a focus meeting with almost 50 customers, and they said, let us use that strategy. You see how misleading your customers can be if you don't build the ability to interpret. And then in COVID, our number increased by almost 300%, and our cost dropped by almost 90%. We were not paying for physical location or physical offices. We're not paying for centers for training. Our cost for trainers literally dropped. We were only paying Zoom and paying for internet, and that's the power of being able to sieve as an entrepreneur. So you need to really understand what you want to take from your customers, but you need to build that internal core, that culture of interpretation, right? As an organization, to take information from your customers interpret it and set a direction, for your business. And that's pretty much, the way I would think about that. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So, Mr. Chibuike, speaking of costs, there's so much digital solutions out right now. There's so much technology solutions out right now. So, how can businesses with small or medium budgets prioritize their digital needs with a market that is filled with so many digital solutions?
Okay. One thing that every business needs for the rest of the life of the business is acquiring customers. Acquiring customers. No business exists without customers. And in a digital space, how do you acquire customers? You have to advertise. And right now, advertising budgets are really, advertising platforms are multiple. You have websites, you have apps, and you have mobile phones. And for you to reach about over 45 million people on the internet in Nigeria, they're not necessarily your customers. And for you to reach all of them, maybe spending even both your revenue plus one of your investors. But to get the best of that, you need to first of all build an audience of what you want. Who are the kind of people that will buy my customers, buy my product? But first thing that qualifies somebody to be your customer is, first of all, that this person has capacity to buy the product and the person needs that product. How do you use digital to build an audience that will need that product, or to identify those people that will do that? And you have to use parameters, of course, targeting parameters to identify that, okay, if somebody is in Lagos and the person is female and the person is living probably in the island, then the person should qualify to be my customer. And then another thing you should consider is, does that person have the capacity to buy that? And now with that, you now streamline to a few people, and then you deliver your advertising campaign to that. Because most things that smaller businesses do is, you say you want to advertise on Facebook, you want to advertise on Google, you simply do a campaign without better targeting, and maybe 1 or 2 days or in a few weeks you spend your money and you're not getting results. But if you're able to say, okay, let's identify who are the actual customers and what qualifies them to be my customers. Then with that, you can be able to say, okay, with little you have, then you can identify those customers by those parameters, and then you push your advertising campaign to them. And then those customers will respond, because people don't want to buy things that they don't need. But with that, you'll be able to. Then another thing is leverage on partnerships and paid media. Now, you could partner with people who are going to put you in front of businesses, who are going to put you in front of customers, and that could be cost effective for you. And then you could also take advantage of publicities, take advantage of, I understand Business Day has a package where they allow businesses they write and showcase young and upcoming businesses. Those are veritable things that you don't have to break the bank, but you have been able to put your face you put your name in the face of the customers. And then when those customers need your product, they will always come back. And then make your website or the place that those customers are actually going to meet you to be as mobile friendly as possible, or as smooth as possible. Just like Adeni said, see, user experience is the key thing that differentiates successful businesses from non-successful businesses online. It can never be overemphasized, because when you create an advert or you run advertisement on the internet, and those people see that banner, they like it, they now come to your site. What happens after that? That's where the user experience comes from. You could have spent a lot of money on attracting these people, but when they reach your site or when they reach your business, they can't stay or they can't navigate through it. Is your business complex? Is it complex for people to buy your products? Is it complex for people to even understand what you're talking about? You know, those are quite simple things that effectively make it easy for you to spend little and then get a lot. Then how optimized is your site, both in the loading and then in the interaction? I didn't talk about the fact that they put interactive resources on websites, and this is also built that where we put interactive boards on a website. So once you land on the website, the bot is already talking to you. That's a CRM. You feel that there's somebody that's conversing with you, but it could just be an automated process. So the budget you have spent in acquiring customers, retain those customers, and then create that avenue for you to reach back to those customers. Then another thing is customer retention. If you have had, maybe you want to spend 1 million naira in acquiring customers in a given quarter, make sure that those customers you have acquired, you are able to constantly communicate with them, so you don't have to go and spend money again to acquire them. If you understand what I'm saying. So if they have come into your business, unveil those customers, make them fans, or make them create that direct communication with them. Then you can always reach them. You can always reach them in SMS, you can always reach them in chat, you can always reach them in many ways. Sorry for that. So with that, you'll be able to optimize your budget and then maximize whatever you are getting from your customers.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Olusegun, I hope you can hear me clearly, everybody.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So next question, digital agencies or digital tools. And this one, I actually want everyone to, say something, because I'm very, very, very passionate about this. What is your preference? Digital agencies, digital tools, and why?
That's a very interesting question. My position, my preference is that until you have productivity skills, productivity tools are useless. So I am saying my preference is digital agencies. There is a Harvard Business Review article which was published a few years ago, and it posits exactly that. It balances, or it brings an argument to say that if you don't have the right skills, your tools are of no value to you. I've also seen a few other expert reports that argue even more. They basically say tools don't matter, skills do. I'll give two examples. Take a carpenter. His skills don't change if he switches from using a hammer to using a machine nailer. You hire him for the building skills he has, not for the number of hours that he has spent, swinging a hammer. Take a computer programmer. He doesn't lose his skills or his competencies, even if he gets a new computer. He brings the same skills, maybe he hones those skills a bit more, and he's able to get more value from a better computer. The point I'm trying to make is good digital agencies bring skillsmanship that get amplified by the right tools. So the availability today of digital tools to the general public allows us all, myself, yourself, I can go on Instagram and say I'm doing my digital marketing myself, but if I don't have the skillsmanship that the good digital agencies have, I will not get superior return for my respective spend. So take some more examples. A good digital agency will give me guidance on the right creatives to use when I'm launching a campaign. They will give me some guidance and experience on where to put my call to actions. Because it's the job that they do, they are constantly learning. They're constantly saying, for banking transactions, for online commerce transactions, the way to position your submit button, for example, should be the bottom right-hand side of the screen, because 90% of people, when they look at the screen, that's where they expect it to be. So people will automatically click on submit and give you the conversions you have before you get it done. That's what skillsmanship does. You and I have the tool, but I don't have the experience that I've gotten from doing it for many organizations to come in and use the tool properly. You bring that experience. So my view, my point, if I had to pick one, I would pick a good digital agent. They would give me the tools to do proactive monitoring of campaign performance. They will help me with identifying the targets, where they are online, and how to retarget. So again, I would reiterate, my position is digital agent, a good digital agency. I would pick that over having a good digital tool. Thank you.
Okay, got it. Mika, what's your stand?
I know you saw me smiling and nodding. I think it's spot on. And I think what you need to do as a company is evaluate, do I have the right skills within my company to deliver this before I go and get the tools? Because if you do not have the right skills, if you give the right tools to the wrong people, they won't be able to use those tools to deliver what you need them to deliver. So I think it's, do I have the right skills? Do I want to hire the right skills? What does this mean for my strategy? Is this aligned with my costs? Why do I prefer to have it in-house versus giving it to some professionals who can make it more efficient? Or is there a data risk? Just decide before I get the tools, where are the people going to be? Are they going to be in-house? If the people are going to be in-house, fine, get the tools and make sure that you're comparing costs. But if you don't have the right people, you should not be getting tools to give to the wrong people. So if you have people who are the right people and they are just not skilled in the digital aspect, so you have people who are already doing recruitment, for example, but they just don't know how to do it online, then you can get the tools and train them in the digital aspect of things. But if you don't have people who are specialized already, they don't have the right skills offline, then giving them the tools and then spending time, it's not going to be efficient for you. And maybe you should just outsource that part of your business.
I was actually going to attack you. I'm like, can't you just train people in-house? But okay, noted. Mr. Itayo, what's your stand?
I think absolutely that is correct, especially even for businesses that are very small. That's a very big temptation. When you lead a business, and that's one of the things I wasn't prepared for. When you lead a business of just 5 persons, it's easy to just buy tools off the shelf and walk 5 people through it. And then when the business grows from 5 to 10, and from 10 to 12, and 10 to 15, 15 to 30, and now when you have a business of 100 people, right, you need to remember that you cannot just continue to buy tools off the shelf, because that is no more sufficient. What is important now is how to convert your little spending to results, right? And there are experts, that have done that for other organizations. They've done it so let me give you an instance, right? PR is very easy for a startup, because you can just make a call, to your friend that works in Tech Cabal and say, hey, guy, please now help me put this online. That is easy for you if you run a very small startup. But when you raise money, right, it becomes critical the kind of content that goes into the PR, the strategic outcome that you want to get out of it, how investors will perceive the PR, and a bunch of other things that you do not even know as an individual, as an entrepreneur. So you need an agency that is an expert in that space. However, the caveat, the flip side to this is that you need to build internal capacity, to understand what the agents are doing or what the agencies are doing. You need to build that. I'm a big fan of internal capacity as an organization, because you want to know what the agency is doing in case that agency is no longer sufficient for the future. So if you ask me what you should prepare before you decide on the tools or the agency that you want to engage, I would say you need to have a very clear roadmap. At least even if you cannot predict into the future what you will become in the next 1 year, you need to be ready. So if I have an agency that is working with me today, right, the agency might be sufficient today. But if I raise a $2 million tomorrow, right, I need to be ready, and I need to know if the agency is also prepared for the future. So the question is, what would you become? And you never can tell. I mean, you would never be prepared for the future enough. I mean, I was not prepared for the things that I'm experiencing today. You would never be prepared. So it's enough for you as an entrepreneur to think, will this agency be sufficient for the future? You know, so on my deck, right, I have a dashboard of the partners that I engage, the tools that we use. We are always populating expensive alternatives, right? What we'll do is to say, who can we engage today? What agency can we engage today? How much are they going to charge us? X, Y. But what's the alternative, you know, for this? The expensive alternative, because I want to be ready for the future where when I get the round, you know, I want to be ready for that time when that agency is no longer enough for the opportunities that I'm exploring, or the kind of marketing that I'm trying to do, or the kind of, you know, PR that I want to do, you know, and the dynamics are different. But finally, the thing I would also say is that you need to also be ready to hire the lead of that agency. And that's one of the things that I'm thinking right now for my future. Because if I by chance, right, become a successful startup, and then the agency charges me 2 million, who is the expert that works at that agency? Can I hire that individual, and then that individual becomes enough for me to go look for other agencies that can work, you know, for us, right? And, you know, the dynamics are a little bit different, you know, considering where you are in the journey. But one of the major, most critical elements is you need to be proactive, you know, thinking in advance. You know, you just have to be in the future before it happens, in case, you know, you need to move from one agency to another agency, because the agency too would move on if they get a better competitor that offers them more. You know, yeah, that's the way I think about that. Yeah.
Mr. Chibike, okay.
Yes, so this aspect is very interesting for me because sometimes I've been in the middle of the firepower in between days, because Duchess owns an advertising platform that integrates the advertising platforms together and also works with agencies to render services to brands. So it's quite complicated here. Now, when you say the choice between agencies or digital tools, truly, let me tell you, the digital tools for the business people are complex. So if you go into some of the digital tools and you feel that as a startup, you understand it, okay, don't deceive yourself. Go and get an agency. An agency is people who spend their time understanding these digital tools, playing around them, working and getting the support of the builders of those digital tools. They also understand things around strategy. They also understand things around creative. They also understand the things around PR. And you are busy running your things. Now, at the stage when you are a small business, medium business, agency works for you perfectly, because it gives you opportunity to measure or concentrate on what matters. Simply sublet this thing. You want to grow from this place to this place. You want to create awareness. You want to create your advertising. You want to do your campaigns. Don't think that by using a tool or by calling somebody that you know, it will give you the success. It just give you minimal success. But these agencies bring a little form of professionalism. They bring excellence in delivering those tools. And those small things are some of the things that make the difference between the successful business and non-successful business. I don't want to mention names, but there's a business I know that you practically feel that you can do everything by yourself. And you're struggling, you keep struggling doing everything yourself. But this other guy comes and hires professionals and outsources this thing to them, and they're all over the place. And you'll be thinking, how are these people doing? Is it not the same product we're producing, or is it not the same business we're doing? The difference is the fact that they got an agency that is good at doing what they're supposed to do. Then agencies leverage on platforms. Now, when you've gotten that big, just like Tire said, and then you feel that some of the things the agencies are doing for you is quite pricey and you want to get them in-house, ensure that the people you are getting in-house are also people who are quite conversant in those tools, and they're going to measure your agency. So you're using an agency, but you also have expertise in-house that could measure what matters. So an agency doesn't just bring to you a result that they feel is going to be sweet for you, but in reality that result is not delivering in your bottom line, or it's not impacting on your balance sheet. So you should have experts in-house that are able to say, hey, this is what we want, this is our goal, and then get the agencies responsible for doing that. And then I know a number of businesses that have decided to say, hey, we want to get in-house agents. So they see that what are the key roles that agencies do. They now pick maybe those 5 key roles, build a team in-house. But until you have the capacity to build that team that replicates an agency, then you probably still need to use an agency. I want to use an example. There's a bank in Nigeria that used to use agencies in time past, and they did that. One time they decided to say, okay, they built a team in-house that was doing some of those things those agencies do, and they're able to pay that. So what they caught was probably the retainer and the other service fees from the agency, but that didn't cut their advertising budget. In fact, they got better results in the budget, because the money you would have been using to pay for services in the agencies, you spend it more on the advertising. But it's the fact that you've brought in experts in-house. But if you are still growing, just use agency. But at the minute level, people prefer to use digital tools, and probably you want to just get distracted from the core thing you are supposed to do, which is building your business, to concentrate on using digital tools. And of course, you have 24 hours. You cannot be more expertise in doing your business than it is in using digital tools.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So I guess everyone is on the same page then. I just wanted to, reemphasize what you all have said. For smaller businesses, especially those that are present here today, it may be more effective to use digital tools, but as you scale and as you get bigger, then you might start looking to hiring outside help or getting expertise to join your business. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think that's basically the nutshell of what everyone has said, right? So we have a few questions, but very quickly, I want Niket to answer the question, or what questions should businesses ask when hiring a digital agency for their business?
Okay, I think it's very related to what we're talking about. First question you still need to ask yourself is, what do I need? And what can I do? What can I not do myself? So for example, if I'm an accountant and I start a business in something else, am I able to use a tool to do my own accounting while I'm a small business? Maybe, maybe not. But if I have no understanding of what accounting is, maybe I should get a partner to help me do my accounting and payroll and all of those things. It depends. What do I need? What can I do? What can I not do by myself? You should be aiming at cost savings, but also at your effectiveness and efficiency. Because if you saving costs is also not going to help you grow as fast, then maybe it's counterintuitive. So you should be looking at ultimately, what do I do and how much do I need to spend to grow my revenue and focus on what I really need to deliver. I think next thing is this agency, how does it work? How have they grown? What do they do? Who are they? There are so many agencies promising so many different things. You need to understand what's their track record. When did they start? Where are they now? How are they run? So who's in charge? Who are the different people doing different things? I think doing your research on that agency, not just on the output they have, but on how they are run internally is very, very important. You need to ask that question to them and also do your own research. Also, what are they tracking? I think we've had people talk a lot about digital marketing today. And also, I spoke about recruitment. If your agency's metrics and your metrics are not aligned, it wouldn't make sense for you. What do you want to track as a business? And how can they help you get there and track that? So what are they tracking for you? What is your digital marketing person tracking? I think Chibuike spoke to that. Like, they should be tracking your metrics. They should be aligned with your business. Their values should be focused on helping you grow your business in all those different sectors, or at least helping you get efficient results and efficient delivery in those different parts. And what's their promise to you? What are their credentials? You want to maybe talk to people who have used these digital agencies before. understand what they're doing, what are their credentials, who's their team, just understand how well they can serve you. Basically, like I said before, do your research. And then obviously, of course, what are their rates? How does it compare? So you have 5 options. What are they all charging? And people who are charging a lot, what are they promising? People who are charging a little, what are you letting go if you go with someone who doesn't charge as much? Or maybe they are just charging the right price, but they're still going to give you optimal quality. And that's also some of the things you should be checking for in your research. And I think the ultimate thing for me is when people come and promise you that they can do everything for you, they do accounting, they do recruitment, they do digital marketing, they're jack of all trades. Make sure I mean, if a company is that big and they could have those divisions, maybe, never say never, but beware of people who do everything. Beware of people who tell you they can do everything for you. Look very deeply at what they've done for other people. Make sure that they are very specialized and they understand what it is that they're doing and delivering for you. And once you can ask these key questions to yourself and to those agencies, and also do your research on the market, I think you should be able to find one that works for your business.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. We are so far spent, but we have a few questions for you guys. Mr. Olusegun first. How can SMEs benefit from what the bank is doing to help scale up their business?
Thank you very much, Generator. I had tried to respond to that. I think it came from Linda. I put an email out, smehelpdesk@wemabank.com. My first response would be, please send an email. There is a team who are empowered to support you on that, and they will engage with you respectively. The bigger or the longer response, and I'll run through that quickly, is those guys are trained to understand your business in detail and to be able to make recommendations on the right level of support that you require. So if it's for business support, they would look at whether you're a school, for example, or you're in health. So for example, there are some Medi-loan and Pharma loan facilities that are available. They would also be able to guide you on the fact that not all of these facilities require a guarantor or collateral. If it's working capital, again, they'll basically be able to tailor your needs with a solution or with a value proposition that we have within WEMA. So please reach out to them. It's SME Help Desk, one word, at wemabank.com. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Mr. Chibuike, another question for you. How can SMEs advertise? I think you already answered this. How can SMEs advertise without breaking the bank? But maybe you can just summarize again.
Yeah, so the core of SMEs is advertising to get customers. And the best way to do that is, like I said before, is understand the kind of customers you are looking for and build parameters that identify those customers, and then use platforms that are cost effective to help you achieve that. So advertising on Facebook is good for SMEs because it's cost effective, but you also need to understand how to use it. So you need to build skills around that. It's that you're using, like we said, it's that you're using an agency if you can afford it, or you have somebody who has a pedigree in basic digital marketing that could help you to deliver that. And then make sure that you experiment, do like 3 experiments, then understand the one that has worked and optimize that. But definitely you are going to observe that the first times you run digital campaigns, it's quite complex, but over time you realize that, okay, are we going to direct our users to a website? Are we going to direct them to WhatsApp? Are we going to direct them to a mobile-oriented site? Then how easy is it for us to achieve that? So with that, you ensure that your advertising budget is going the right way, and then you are concentrating on platforms that help you deliver just good results.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Nike, this one's for you. How can SMEs attract and retain the right talents without spending a lot?
Okay, I mean, I don't know what a lot is, but I'm sure, I think obviously you want to spend effectively, efficiently. You want to make sure that every penny is worth it and you're getting return on your investment. I think 5 things. First thing is you need to work on your talent strategy, your talent acquisition strategy. What is it I'm looking for when I'm looking for talent? What is important to me? What are my values? What is my process? Basically understanding what it is you're trying to achieve with recruitment. What kind of people am I looking to get, and all of those things. I think that's the first thing you need to do. And then you define the type of talent you're looking for in the same vein. So you've worked on your strategy. Now, this talent I'm looking for, what skills do they have? What attributes do they have? What kind of person do I want working in this role, in this company, and identify what they would want and what you can offer them, because that's what it is. You're trying to figure out, this person I'm looking for, what do they want, and what can I offer? And they're, sometimes if you're lucky, they're the same, but as an SME, most times you're not able to offer what the ideal and optimal person wants. And so you want to go to the next point, which is, if I can't offer you money, as you would want, because I'm a growing business, what can I offer you? What's my employee value proposition? What am I giving to you as an employee? Is it opportunity? Is it what is it that you would get working for me aside money that would make me an attractive choice? Because I have a lot of people competing for this talent. I have bigger companies competing. I have international companies competing because it's the advent of remote work. And I have even in the fact that people might want to do independent work or gig work competing for this talent. So if I want to hire people, I need to be able to give them a reason to work with me, both financial and non-financial benefits. What's the brand that I'm appealing? Is this brand useful in the career of this person? How am I helping them build a good brand for themselves by building a brand that people will want to work for? Next thing you want to do is define your recruitment must-haves and nice-to-haves. Again, you're competing for talent and you're an SME. What is it that, so if this role, you see roles saying they want 10 years experience, 15 years experience, for things that maybe just need 7 years of good quality experience. If you're a growing company, you need to understand, what are my nice to haves? What, maybe this person doesn't have to have a master's, maybe they don't have to have an MBA, but what is it that I want them to be able to do? Maybe the things that I must have is, maybe you have to have a degree, maybe not, maybe you have to have done specific type of work. Just understanding what's the nice to have and what's the must have. What am I flexible about and what am I willing to train people on? Because I'm in a very, it's competitive. It's a tight market to find good talent, and you want to be able to find the best talent on your budget and deliver value for your company. And I think the last thing is look in the right places. Where am I looking for talent? Am I going to the places where I will find the right talent, where I will get data on good people? Jobberman has over 2 million people on its platform. So what kind of people am I looking for? Am I going to the right places? If you don't look in the right places, you may not find the right talent. What community should I be looking in? What platform should I be looking? What network should I be looking in to find the right talent for my business, the right candidates to look into? I think if you do those 5 things, you should be able to find good people and that'll help your company grow.
Thank you for that. Finally, Mr. Itayo, this one is for you. How can SMEs find the right tech people to scale up their business as the future is digital and tech?
Yeah, that's the most dangerous question. Tech talents are quite very, very difficult to find. And it's pretty much because, of the global dynamics with talent competition that Nick also mentioned. It's easy for a data scientist. In fact, I have a couple of friends that are data scientists working from Lagos, with organizations in London. These organizations prefer them, for multiple reasons that I don't want to talk about here. And then because of the Jaguar movement, it's just very difficult to find tech talents today. So when you think of scaling, my biggest recommendation would be the very difficult element of tech product development. Try as much as possible to outsource that. So if you need to roll out new features, right, just outsource it, and then have pretty much, if you're a small company, right, have just these super young, guys in the inside that can, fix bugs, that can test features that have been built, that can, brainstorm internally that can also help the business guys to onboard on products. But as you build your company and you become bigger, that also becomes another dangerous approach. So what is the ultimate, best approach that I have seen, especially in the Valley and also in Lagos, in the Yaba Valley in Lagos? Build your own internal school, right? Have your own internship program internally. That's the easiest way to become successful. Hire these junior talents, help them become, move from junior to mid-level. You can tell that these guys will leave you because you don't have lots of money like the banks to play around, right? But one of the things you can guarantee for certain is that you can train them in the stacks that you use and train them in the framework that you use. You don't need to train someone in other. So if I hire 20 junior developers and I partner with maybe a trained company, all I need to tell them is keep training these 20 people for me, but I don't want them to learn other stacks. I want them to learn my stack. I want them to learn, my own framework. And I want them to keep working on my project as the assignments. That's what Hotels of NG has done. And a couple of other startups that are very big and heavy on technology talents. The good side of that is that you will never run dry. So if you know you can't house almost 20 people, then you can partner with trained companies and say, hey, I want to partner with you. I can guarantee that I will always hire 20, 10, 5 from you, but I also want to have a bit of control on what you train these guys on, right? Look at one of my friends that runs Enyata. Enyata just partnered with a couple of different companies that really need talent, but they do the internal training for this talent inside. I can mention Decagon, Semicolon, and a couple of different, technology talent, training companies. Like a major bank partnered with Decagon. Keep training talent, and I would hire them, from you. In a space where you're competing with global brands, that is the easiest way out today, unless you have a lot of money. But no matter what you pay technology talent, and no matter the culture, no matter the business value that you offer them, I can always guarantee that 8 out of your 10 technology talents are pretty much being offered better opportunities, not just from competitors locally, but internationally. But how do you keep your sanity, make sure that you never run dry in terms of the pool of talent, and that way, for certain that, okay, I have a bunch of people that I can always bring inside. Technology talent is a little bit different, but the best strategy for me would be outsource the product development so that you never even have to bother about product development. But that can also be difficult if your product is very heavy on the cybersecurity and the data side of things. You want to be sure that you're not outsourcing, internal secrets, internal data information. So that's the way I would think about it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. We'll have our final words very, very soon, but very quickly, our organizers have 2 videos that they would like for you to take a look at. At netplus.com, we recently launched a new device that is kind of like our baby, and we're super, super proud of this particular one because it serves 2 purposes. It works as a smartphone and a payment device at the same time. So without further ado, someone will play the video right now.
Now let's take a closer look at the device. On the right side of this Android-based device is a physical on and off key and a volume up button. On the left side is the earpiece jack where you can listen to your favorite tracks, a USB-C charging port for charging the device, and a volume down button. On the front of this phone is a phone speaker for calls. Now to the most exciting part. The NetPlus Mini is not only a smartphone, it's a POS device as well. Take a look at the top, which houses the Swipe Smart card reader, and at the bottom is the magnetic card reader. Behind are 2 rear cameras, the 0.3mm and 5mm flash HD camera, a removable 300 mAh battery, and the micro USB slot as well as the SIM slot.
Culinary Delights was actually started to tell innovative, exciting, and positive food stories out of Lagos, Nigeria.
Being the foremost luxurious goods company in the entire West Africa is a big deal.
Will you have every opportunity? No. But you see, the opportunities you lose on account of your value system, that's your opportunity cost for what you believe, and is the price you must be willing to pay.
Thank you very much and bless you.
Okay, Linda Ochugwa, you have something to say?
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, hi, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, it's almost afternoon. Thank you so much for staying on. We wanted to play a video, but we're having issues with the video, so I'll just talk about our subscription. Business Day provides you with business information and insights on how you can improve your business. And we've tried to also take a step further, providing you with insights and research documents, which makes your life really easy. And for subscription for a year, it's less than 15K for a year, and you can have access to this every day for 1 year. We want to indulge SMEs to try to read more, to find out about the dynamics of business, the landscape, the environment, the economy, and see how it affects them so that they can make better decisions. We've also tried to create like a discounted advert rate for SMEs, whereby they can advertise without breaking the bank. The whole goal is to see how we can also provide them services that can help them grow their business and scale up without spending so much money. So if they do want to get access to this, they can send an email to linda@businessday.ng or send an OTK at businessday.ng or call our number. If you go on the website, they can see our details there and they can call us and we can see how to help them. I'd like to end because I know we've exceeded our 1 hour, 30 minutes, and I really want to thank them for staying tuned with us till this very time. Thank you very much, everyone.
And thank you so much, Linda. So we have a short speech from Nika as well.
Yeah, thanks everyone. It's not a speech, it's just me telling I know there are a lot of SMEs here, and I know that you would always like to get, like I said, we talk about agencies today, making sure experts are doing work for you. Just wanted to let them know about what we can offer as Jobberman. We have a wide range of projects, but specifically for SMEs, we have a listing product that they can take advantage of. And when you do listings on Jobberman, like I said, you have access to our application tracking system. That way you're using technology end to end and you're able to manage people applying for jobs and sort them out very quickly. We also have other things like our Job Boost and Best Match and Pro Recruit. Those are advanced products that just help you go beyond listing. How do I make sure that I'm shortlisting the right people, the right 10 people, the right 5 people, get them delivered to you at no stress, and then you make sure that you're only looking at those people as opposed to everyone that has applied for your listing. We also have an assessment product that you can attach to a listing. That way you're filtering through like a second level filter, because assessments is how you make sure that you're picking the people who are willing and also ready to do the work that you want them to do when they come into your company. Jobberman partner with Mastercard Foundation, and we're able to deliver free soft skills training to everyone who applies for a job on our site. So you know that we are going to get people who have gone through this soft skills training and are better equipped to work for you and with you. I don't want to take too much time. You can go on our website, jobberman.com, and you can also reach out to me. I will drop my email. But I think our website, you'd see all our products, you'd interact with it, and then somebody will reach out to you. Because I know that SMEs are always looking for ways to find the right tools, right products for them. And I know Jobberman is here to make sure that we make your recruitment process seamless and easy.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that, Nika. Mr. Itayo has had to run to another engagement, but if Mr. Chibuike or Mr. Olusegun have something to say, now would be the time.
Okay. No, please go on, Chibuike.
Okay, it's really great to be speaking with you guys, and I also want to encourage SMEs, businesses that are here. That okay, the times are quite tough, but you have to be tough to succeed, and we're here to support you. We support you from the time of having a strategy, your go-to-market strategy, to the implementation of your digital strategy, from your advertising, from your customer acquisition to their retaining them. We have this product we call Collect. It helps you to collect. It helps to collect people who are interested in your products and create an automated engagement system for you to constantly engage with them on WhatsApp. You can do your two-factor authentication on there. You can also verify those customers and then constantly communicate with them. And also, it puts together your digital advertising to make it work for you, to ensure that, okay, if you're advertising and you're spending X amount of money on advertising, then that money is creating result for you. He has access to WhatsApp, he has access to Facebook, you can advertise on Google and harness all these things on one platform to ensure that you're optimizing. And then we work with you on your goals. What's your goal? Do you want to drive app installations? Do you want to drive customer interactions? Do you want to drive customer acquisitions? Do you want to drive awareness? And Duchess, you can check that on our website, www.duchess.com, and then you can see all the things we can do for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Shekin.
Thank you. I mean, for me, it's been an absolute delight being here today. Thank you to you guys for organizing this, my business day, as well as at Net Plus, and of course for everyone that has listened. The message that I want everyone to take away from here is, we're positioned to support SMEs as they grow. I think, like Chibuke said, we're in I choose to call it very interesting and turbulent times. And the reason I say that is, there are still some opportunities for the taking. And this is part of what has led us to identify or to focus on areas where we want to differentiate. So two things I'd love to sow in the minds of SMEs. Engage with us for your lending requirements, engage with us for your advisory requirements. And when I say advisory, I mean from, managing regulators in whatever areas you're in, to tax, to how to grow, how to bootstrap your finance, how to hack your own growth. So create more disruptive innovation for your businesses. And then, of course, what sort of lending facilities are available for your industry. I spoke earlier, there are some based on education, based on pharma, based on being in the medical line. Don't get discouraged by the publicity, what you hear out there that banks are not lending if you don't have collateral. We are doing that. We're technology driven. We would give you, we would consider each business on its merit, regardless of whether there's a collateral or a guarantor. So, engage with us. I spoke earlier, the easiest way to engage is an email. Send us an email. There is a team waiting on that. It's SMEhelpdesk@wemabank.com, full one word. Thank you very much. And I look forward to further engagements in the future.
I personally just want to say thank you again to every one of you, the panelists, for taking out the time to be here with us. I know I have learned so much. The conversation from you was incredibly exciting and interesting. So thank you so much for being here. And to the SMEs that are present, thank you too for being here. I hope that you've learned one or two things. And thank you for your time. We've spent so much time, but very quickly, we have a closing remark from the CEO of netplus.com, Mr. Wale Farron. We just want to say a few words and then we'll end this. Thank you once again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Gerald, he says he's not connected.
Oh, okay. Well, Okay, that's fine. Then you know what? I think one thing he would like for everyone to know is that he really appreciates you all taking the time to be here and joining in on this call. There's another one next month, on the last Thursday of next month. We'll communicate that to everyone present here. And again to the panelists, thank you for being here. Then for, like I said, for our new baby, you can check that out on www.netpos.com.ng. Every information that you need is on there. So you can check out the product and see how that can help you transition digitally with ease. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you once again, everybody, and enjoy your day.
Thanks.